Hey y'all, so you're looking at the Arrow Lakes Reservoir. It's more of a reservoir. It's between, I think those are the Monashees, and those are the Selkirks mountain ranges. So we're in the Columbia Basin, Columbia River Basin. This is part of the Columbia River. In 1965, they put a dam downstream, and so where I'm sitting, there used to be homesteads and farmland and lots of trees and stuff. Now it's just a floodplain. So in the summer, the water's high. I would be sitting in the water right now. But it's October 9th.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
I thought I would start a real video, give you guys a glimpse into my life, hoping that I can bring some value or help someone in some way. All these little aphids. So, my name's Radelle, and I was born in 1983 in Edmonton, and I didn't like ever really living in the city. It was a little too stimulating, but obviously it taught me a lot. In 2018, we moved here to Nakas, and it's a small town. Like, there's 1,500 people in the village and 1,500 people surrounding the village. So, and then lots of tourists in the summertime. And I always dreamed of living by the water, so here I am. It's definitely changed in the last 10 years. When we first started visiting here, it smelled fresh all the time and alive, but now it rarely has that fresh scent outside. I really wanted to start with apologizing. I really want to say sorry to all the people who I did wrong, or I'm sorry. You know who you are. So I pray that your life is redeemed. So being born in the prairies kind of made it just normal to be a Christian, and we were raised Catholic. My dad wasn't really into any sort of religion or belief system. I think he had to become Catholic to marry my mom in the Catholic Church. So, and because my mom was like 8 months pregnant when they got married, they pushed him through, and I don't think he even finished his conversion. So anyway, so it was a lot of a dichotomy in my parents' relationship. My dad passed last spring, so it's been 1.5 years now. And through he had a stroke in 2019 in September, and they, when they did all the CAT scans and stuff, it showed that he had some dementia. So I learned a lot from that, and I'm hoping that I can avoid that for myself. I guess the biggest things were I graduated in 2001, and of course that year when I went to university, 9/11 happened, and so I saw it on the news, and then just like went to school. Never really understood the gravity of that. I didn't finish university because I didn't have any direction. I didn't really know what I wanted to be. Really, my whole life was I just dreamed of being a wife and a mother. So I was like, just having fun and partying too much and hanging out with friends and stuff in university. So I had a hard time. It was much different than high school. If I had to do it again, I would definitely work hard to get an undergrad degree, at least, because it gives you a sense of accomplishment. It's a lot. My life has been a lot, and I kind of wish I would have tried to keep it more simple, or I wish I would have partied less and taken care of myself more. Or I met my oldest daughter's father, bio dad, in 2005, I think. And I just fell head over heels for him, and we dated for like 4 years off and on, and then I like really wanted to, I just wanted him to commit, and so I let myself get pregnant, basically. And I was 24 at the time, and I really thought I would have been married and had been established by that point. So I guess I pushed that along, She was just the easiest baby, the greatest thing that ever happened to me. And it was her that taught me the value of myself. So I wasn't gonna put up with any more shenanigans from her dad anymore, her bio dad. So when she was about 16 months, after she had turned 1, I moved out and started dating again. And that was not a good idea. I should have just moved in with my mom or something. So I struggled financially, basically my whole life, because I always had like minimum wage jobs or low wage jobs, and I always thought I could depend on a man, which is not the right way of thinking. So through a mutual friend, I met my husband, who happened to be living, 2 doors down and across the street from the basement suite I was renting after I moved out.
Coincidence? I think not!
And, he had a house and looked like he, wanted to be a dad. He admired how I was very loving and attentive to my oldest daughter, to my daughter at the time, my only child. And he quickly took me on a vacation, which I later had to pay him back for. And the first night, we drank too much, and we hadn't eaten very much, so we got really drunk. And then he asked me to marry him. And I'd just been going with the flow, and even though he wasn't like the type that I would have normally chosen to date, I said yes. I think I just didn't want to ruin the vacation. never really been on a vacation. I mean, I was trying to do what was the right thing for my daughter. And maybe I'm a people pleaser. It was hard to just be in that whirlwind of becoming engaged and committing for life and trying to be, different from who I was before. But I knew who I was before wasn't working for me because I was picking the wrong types and just ending up in situations that I shouldn't have got myself into. That summer, I got pregnant with my son, and that was not easy. Then we waited till he was 5 months old to actually get married, but we did. And then it was just craziness. So my son was obviously very different than my daughter. He was not an easy baby, and he was high-spirited. That's what they call it. Strong-willed and spirited. Like, I sent them to school, and they wanted us to take him to the doctor and get him diagnosed, and so that he could go on the medications for that. And I was just not having that. We tried a different school. We tried homeschooling, and when we moved here, we did go to the doctor and get the diagnosis. So tomorrow we'll have been married for 14 years, and it's been challenging most of the time. 2 years after my son was born, we had another daughter, and then 4 years after she was born, we had another son. 2 daughters and 2 sons, and they're all amazing. Even though my older son got the diagnosis of autism spectrum, he is like a savant. Like, he's super smart. He learned how to read basically on his own, at age 5. And then my other son, who's not, he's 8, but I've never sent him to school. He's always been homeschooled. And I can't get him to read. He hates it. Learn a word or a letter sounds and then he'll forget it. So I don't know. I have to be more consistent. I know that. Right now, it's just the battle of trying to maintain a good attitude and try to stay above neutral mood and be kinder to myself when it's not a neutral mood and it's below that. I think God's preparing us all for what's to come. I pray for all these people affected by these natural disasters. All those people in North Carolina and other places where the government's not going to help us. I don't know why we'd ever expect them to. It is frustrating that we have to pay and inordinate amount of taxes. I don't see very much of what they're using that for. The corruption is just insane and obvious. The cognitive dissonance is a problem. Normalcy bias is a problem. And if you're going through a tough time, it's because you're being prepared for a really tough time. I can feel it. It's gonna be, I always thought it was gonna be like way sooner than now, but I pray that you're spiritually prepared for the future and that you're mentally able to withstand the hardship that we're about to face. And if you're right with God, I do believe that He'll provide for you physically. But if you can, then get physically prepared too. Try not to let yourself get too fat and buy some extra rice and beans and store some water. I don't know what it's gonna be, but it could be any number of things or a combination of things. If it's like a pole shift or a solar flare that throws us back to the dark ages, it's probably a blessing, because the technology is not, it's just complicating things. And I mean, I guess if the power goes off, then there'll be a bunch of nuclear reactors that can't stay cold, and so then we're facing nuclear disaster too in some places. But I don't know, it feels like they're spraying us like bugs anyway. Pray for protection, pray for healing. God is good all the time, and He loves you, He loves everyone. I know that Jesus is alive, and He changes things. If you ask Him, you gotta ask Him, because otherwise you're just being proud and you're not being humble. So keep doing the best you can and love yourself for whatever you can do, and forgive yourself and ask God to forgive you for whatever just haunts you, and you will make it through. And I send you as much love as I can, and I hope you're doing well. Please reach out if you need someone to talk to, or if you need some prayer. And I hope you're blessed and everything's gonna be okay. Have a great one. Peace.